Hello, everybody. This is Keon Rose of Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today on this cloudy Tuesday morning here in Chattanooga. Tuesday afternoon. Morning, afternoon, morning. What's the difference anyway? This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. It's good to be back. Took Labor Day off, took some time off to celebrate the birthday of my girlfriend. Happy birthday. And it was good. It was good. It's good to be back, though. It's good to be back in here, ready to talk some sports, ready to talk some college football and everything that happened over the weekend. The SEC West basically dominated everyone that they came into contact with, including, surprisingly, Texas A&M and their victory over Arizona State, who's ranked number 15 in the nation. Texas A&M not even ranked. And I think in our picks, both Eric and I, neither of us picked Texas A&M. We didn't believe enough in them, and A&M played great. I mean, on defense, they got after Arizona State, both their passing game and running game, and they got some help from special teams. Thrilling 79-yard touchdown return. I mean, look, I doubted the Aggies, but that's a powerful team right there. And again, goes to show you the depth of the SEC. Here on Hot News Talk Radio, we can be reached in any number of ways. You can find us on Twitter. If you search Hot News Talk Radio, our Twitter handle is @HotNewsRadio. On Facebook, search Hot News Talk Radio and leave us a comment, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Interact with us, and we will interact with you. You can also listen to us if you search hotnewstalkradio.com. We start streaming on your computer right away. You want to listen and work, you don't want to pull out your smartphone, that's fine. Just go to hotnewstalkradio.com. And if you do have your smartphone, then you can go to the Apple Store if you have an iPhone, or you can go to the Google Play Store if an Android phone is more to your liking. Download the TuneIn Radio app. It's absolutely free. Search Hot News Talk Radio. Give us a follow, and you can have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So, without further ado, let's get into the show. I'd like to talk a little bit first about Browns offensive line coach Andy Moeller. And why does anybody care about Browns offensive line coach Andy Moeller? Well, Andy Moeller has been suspended from the team. The team has not specified for what exactly. Andy Moeller has been, he's gotten a DUI in the past, and it may be something along the lines of that. And I think we talk about the NFL, we talk about all the problems that the league has in terms of players being arrested and players making bad decisions. Well, coaches make bad decisions too. People in leadership make bad decisions too. And I think part of the stigma of the players getting the flack that they do is that the NFL and the NBA, especially those two leagues, are, for the majority, they're black. Most of the high-end athletes in those sports are black athletes. So they make terrible mistakes. They make bad decisions. A lot of times it's because these are young guys seeing millions of dollars in one place for the first time in their lives, and they're making bad decisions because they don't know what to do with all of this money. It doesn't have anything to do with their race. They're not making bad decisions because they're black, but it's easy to mentally make that correlation, and it only adds to certain stereotypes in the long run. You need to separate one issue from another. They're not making bad decisions because they're black. They're making bad decisions because they're young with money. We're not necessarily taught how to handle having all of that money. And I don't care who you are. I have known many people of many races in the 20s range in age, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, making very, very, very bad decisions. And they don't even have money. They don't even have money. So this is not an issue of race. But it's easy to turn it into that. And the reason why I point out when the coaches make bad decisions, Andy Moeller of the Browns today and Steve Sarkisian a few weeks ago, the head coach of the USC Trojans, they are usually, not always, but usually white. And we don't seem to give them the same attention when they make bad decisions. And just to put the spotlight over there and just say, hey, people in leadership make bad decisions too. Coaches need to make better decisions. I've been saying that on this show since the very first episode, basically, because that was the first episode. Coaches need to make good decisions. Not just coaches, people in leadership. The CEO of a company, the president of the nation, the mayor, the sheriff. If you are in a position of leadership, you are held to a higher standard than everyone underneath you. The players in the league are held to a high standard. They're in the public eye. They're always going to be seen, especially by young people, as role models. They need to be held to a high standard. But the guy above him, the guy above the player, he needs to be held to an even higher standard because it's his job to organize these people. It's his job to lead them. They're following his example. If the coach believes we can win and he's put together a game plan as though we can win, we're going to try and follow him because we think we can win. If the coach is going to be part of the decision to suspend me from the team because I messed up, I went and partied, I drank a little bit, I didn't give my keys to somebody else like I was supposed to, and I drove home and I got busted for a DUI, I got popped. How can the coach look me in the eyes and suspend me for the same thing he would do? How can the owner of the team look me in the eyes and suspend me for the same thing he would do? And it doesn't matter what organization. If you're the pastor of a church or the deacon in a church, or you are upper management in a company, you try and treat people equally and you try and treat people with respect, but it's also very hard to punish people for making the same mistakes you're making. And you just see other examples of this in the NFL. This is the kind of story that tends to go underreported. It's not a big deal. He's not a head coach. He's an offensive line coach, but he's still in a position of leadership. All of those offensive linemen are still men younger than him, being led by him. So yeah, he needs to be held to a higher standard. And so the Browns suspended him indefinitely until the details come out. And that's important too. You don't fire the guy if you don't have all the information. And I'm not coming down here to just hammer on Andy Moeller, but you make good decisions or you lose your football team or you lose your baseball team or you lose your company or you lose your church. It's hard to believe in a person that cannot set good examples. That's just life. It goes all the way down to the family. You're a mom, you're a dad, you're an older brother, you're an older sister. You've got to make good decisions because there are people that are looking up to you who are just simply under your care. And in the case of a family, it may not be your choice, but they're still there. They're still looking up to you. And I think that's the beauty of sports is while Andy Moeller made a mistake that was unfortunate, and you should never drink and drive, we can at least take this opportunity from him to learn a life lesson, to learn that, hey, when people are underneath you in any situation, you are held to a higher standard than they are because you cannot ask someone to do something that you yourself wouldn't do. It's just not fair. It's just not fair, and it makes no sense. I am an older brother. And I have two younger brothers, one that's close to me in age and then one that's a little further away. And I'm an example to them both. I cannot behave in a certain way. I've never had a DUI. I don't drink. I'm not a partier. So I can tell my younger brother, both of them, don't get caught up in that stuff. Drugs, don't get caught in that garbage. I can tell them that with a straight face because I don't do it. I don't ask them to do something that I myself wouldn't do. If I tell them don't get caught around certain people, the police like to go after certain people. And you know what? Know your rights. Know what the police can and can't do to you. But you know what? If you're just not around awful people in the first place, police aren't an issue. They're not. So when you're in a position of leadership, you're a parent, you're a CEO, you've got to make good decisions. You're a coach, and not just the head coach. Any coach, wide receiver coach, offensive line coach in this case. And what happened at USC with Steve Sarkisian, he had a drunken rant at a boosters meeting. And, you know, what he did with his players to try and earn their respect back was he basically had the players run him through drills that he would run them through if they made certain mistakes. So I like that from him because that says to his players, look, I'm willing to be held accountable for my actions and my bad decisions. But not only am I willing to be held accountable, I'm willing to be held accountable by you all. I'm willing to be held accountable by every young man in this locker room who I am supposed to be leading. And I know that I did wrong, and I am sorry. What should I do to show you that I made a mistake? I like that. I think that that's a very smart thing of him to do, and hopefully it works out for him in USC. University of Southern California, not South Carolina for those of us in the SEC. Speaking of the SEC went out and had themselves a field day this past weekend on Saturday. They did some damage to the rest of the other schools. And another thing I'd like to talk about is TCU is considered a national title contender this season. And their quarterback, Trevon Boykin, is a Heisman Trophy candidate. Looks like he could be one of the best players in college football. They played the University of Minnesota, and TCU won. They did. But they looked less than polished there. Boykin didn't look as dominant as he did a season ago. And again, this is literally the first week of college football. You'd never, ever, ever want to knee jerk and overreact and go, oh no, the sky is falling. TCU's finished. They can't defeat anybody if they can't steamroll Minnesota. Don't do that. Don't knee jerk. I'm just saying keep an eye out for a possible storyline involving Trevon Boykin and his Heisman Trophy candidacy and TCU. Because again, the SEC is a conference that needs teams like TCU to lose a couple of games. The SEC is a deep conference. All of those teams are incredibly good. They'll beat each other up. They'll cannibalize each other. And where you could argue in a given year, 2 teams, 3 teams from the SEC get in to the playoff, maybe one gets in because they've got 1 loss and the other teams have got a couple of losses. You have a couple of losses, you're probably not going to get in. So you need a team like TCU to show a little bit of weakness, to show that they've got some chinks in the armor so that you can see where your team is angling to maybe work their way into this playoff. And in a little bit, we're also going to talk about the New England Patriots. I have some things to say about them. Tom Brady gets off out of his suspension, walks free. The judge says that he is not going to serve his suspension. The NFL is appealing. I don't think the NFL is going to win that appeal. If they do, if and when they do, Tom Brady will serve his 4-game suspension anywhere in between there. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. I am Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking college football. We're going to be talking Deflategate. We're going to be talking all kinds of things regarding the pigskin right here on Clutch with Keon Rose on 1240 AM Hot News Talk Radio. Next.
Media Network's coverage of the NFL. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the action.
Hot News Talk 1240.
If it's the NFL, it's right here.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report every Sunday at 9 a.m. My guest this week took over as executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union 7 days before the 9/11 attacks. Anthony Romero will be here to talk about the growing need to protect liberties guaranteed by the Constitution. Don't miss an honest look at post 9/11 America right here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and to manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brainerd Road and in Saudi Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's E.J. Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead, 622-3156.
When my brother and I opened our first Jets Pizza, we believed if we made the best pizza, customers would find us. So we made fresh dough each day, used fresh toppings, and premium mozzarella cheese. 300-plus stores later, we still do.
Try Jet's famous 8-corner pizza with premium mozzarella cheese and one topping, now just $11.99 for a limited time only. Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets. Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. I'm Keon Rose on Hot News Talk Radio. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter if you search Hot News Talk Radio. You can also listen to us on your phone. We're mobile. We're mobile wherever you're mobile. If you search in the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store for the TuneIn Radio app, and then search Hot News Talk Radio. Give us a follow and press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. We're also on hotnewstalkradio.com. The SEC West, which is, I like to refer to it as a murderer's row. That is a scary, scary conference in football. The SEC is scary, and then as a subset of the SEC West is absolutely terrifying. And all of those teams, with the exception of Vanderbilt, who I don't think anybody expected the Commodores to do anything, with the exception of Vanderbilt, won. Everybody. Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Alabama, Mississippi State, Auburn, all winners. LSU hasn't played yet. And in the SEC East, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina, all winners. Vanderbilt, the only loser. But you go to Vanderbilt for the medicine. So we're not too concerned with that. But again, it just goes to show how dominant this conference is and how deep it is. I was particularly impressed with Texas A&M when I saw them, because I didn't give them a chance, and neither did Eric Judd of the Eric Judd Show from 11 to noon here on Hot News Talk Radio. We do a weekly football pick every week. It's his turn to choose the teams that we'll be selecting from this week. And also his Hogs won on Saturday by a lot. They scored a lot of touchdowns, and my Longhorns lost by a lot. Didn't score very many touchdowns. In fact, they just scored one. They got beaten by Notre Dame 38-8. So should I come into work tomorrow? That's the real question. Should I come into work tomorrow? Because when I come in to see Mr. Judd to do my picks on his show at 11, he will not let me hear the end of it. That man, his nose is going to be so far up in the air, he can catch water with it. I don't want to be part of that parade, his personal victory parade. You don't know how hard this is. You have no idea. You know the man, okay? Mr. Judd is one of the funnest, most hilarious people I've ever met. He's incredibly down to earth, except when it comes to the University of Arkansas. Then you can just take humility and chuck it right out the window. He doesn't know what that is anymore. That's all I'm saying. My life is my life's going to be real hard tomorrow. He is going to make it difficult. I can tell you that right away. The Patriots have a respect problem. And I think when you talk about sports, we have a mentality in this country, not just in sports, but we like to see it exemplified in our sports, that we will do anything it takes to win. We'll do whatever it takes to win. Richard Nixon, and we're just going to reference Richard Nixon here because of the Watergate scandal, and since every scandal that ever happened after that has now got a gate attached to it, which makes no sense. Richard Nixon basically tried to cheat to win an election that he was very likely going to win anyway. When they broke into the Democratic National Convention, it was highly likely that Nixon would have won that election without having people break into there. It was completely unnecessary, but he had to know that he was going to win. Could not leave that up to doubt. Could not do it. We have to win in this country, and we have to win at any cost. And the Patriots will do that. The Patriots will apparently deflate your footballs. Apparently, they'll record your practices, a la Spygate. They'll steal your plays. The Patriots embody this do anything to win mentality that we have, except that when they get caught, then we're up in arms. It's an outrage. You know what I mean? You don't want to see flopping in any sport. You don't want to see a basketball player flop just to get a foul call. That's why we can't stand soccer in this country, because guys will just drop on the ground and act like somebody shot them with a sniper rifle. We can't stand it. But it's the thing that makes it interesting to me is we want athletes to do anything to win. Where do you draw the line? It just seems to be an arbitrary line drawn at, well, if it doesn't make you look tough, then you can't do that thing to win. So flopping is wrong. look, cheating is wrong. I think we should just say that. We should just say cheating is wrong. I don't mind doing what it takes to win within the confines of the sport, within the rules. There are rules to things. And we follow the rules for a reason. Yeah, you prevent mayhem that way. Okay? You prevent mayhem and chaos. When there are no rules to a game, it's not a game. Specifically, what makes a game fun and what makes a game interesting is what you have to do between the lines of the rules. That's what makes chess fun. That's what makes Monopoly fun for the people out there that like Monopoly. I hate Monopoly. I think Monopoly is the worst game ever created. And maybe I'll go into that a little bit later on down the road, but Monopoly is an awful game. But it has rules, and that's why people enjoy playing it. It's outsmarting and outwitting your opponent within the lines. I have no problem with that, including things that were not specifically written about, right? So trash talking. If you want to try and get the edge on an opponent by talking trash, what that tests in the game is mental fortitude. I'd like to see an opponent overcome that. I'd like to see you talk trash and the other guy go, no, that's not going to work on me. I'd like to see that. That's the thing that proves and gives us that example of the human spirit that we even watch sports for. I'd like to see that. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with well, for instance, in football, you have fake audibles, you have fake calls. I have no problem with trickery, misdirection, because those things are within the rules of the game. You're being creative now. That's fun. That's fun. I don't have a problem with that at all. My issue starts to come in when you're outside the rules of the game. If the game, like in soccer, flopping is not against the rules. Not necessarily. So when a guy flops, he's doing what it takes for his team to win. Because if he can get your guy to pick up a red card and get tossed out of the game, he did his job then. But in the NBA, where they don't want that to be something that you're allowed to do, now it's against the rules. I got a problem with flopping in the NBA. A big problem with it. Because it's against the rules. I'm glad it's against the rules. Flopping as a whole is just unfun to watch. It's just hard to watch, and it's makes for some gross basketball. And you want to see the athletes perform feats of athleticism and not do something that you could have done, which is pretend to roll your ankle, pretend to be pushed. I could do that. So I understand why you wouldn't want to see it, but you can't get mad at a guy for trying to win when that's our American ideal. When winning is the thing that appears to be most important to us. We want our politicians to win, but if our politicians go outside the rules to win, then all of a sudden we've got an issue with it. And I'm not saying you're wrong for having an issue with it. In fact, that proves that you have a moral compass and that it points in the correct direction. But at the same time, we have our American spirit. We like heist movies. We like to watch people break the rules. You watch The Dark Knight. Who's everyone's favorite character in that movie? Joker. He breaks the rules. We watch it and we think that's fun. That's what we like. But we can't stand it when it happens in real life. It's just very two-faced. It's very two-faced of us to do as a nation. Like it only is wrong when it doesn't benefit you. What our real thing should be is just don't get caught. The issue with the Patriots is that they continue to get caught. You get caught with your hand in the cookie jar over and over and over again. People get tired of seeing you come back to the cookie jar. Stop. Don't you get it? But they do get it. And they understand. Their fan base loves that they keep winning. You talk to any Patriots fan, and they act like you have no clue what you're talking about. I have a few Patriot fan friends, and they're like, what, us? We would never, our team would never cheat. Not us. You know, Tom Brady's about to be suspended for 4 games for Deflategate, and they're talking about, well, look at how many games Ray Rice was about to be suspended for punching his wife. I get it. Those 2 suspensions should not be equal at all. Deflating a football is far less evil a thing to do in this world than hitting a woman. It's not even close. We're not even going to pretend that. But that's not the issue here. The issue is that your team is cheating consistently and getting caught. My issue with it is let's figure out what our problem with the Patriots is. Is it that the Patriots are cheating, or is it that they continue to get caught? Because if your team rattled off that many championships, okay, and you weren't getting caught, you'd be okay with it. Patriots fans are perfectly fine with it. If you were a Browns fan, all right, and you got 4 Super Bowls in 9 years, if you got 1 Super Bowl and people found out you cheated for it, you'd still take it. It would still count to you. You wouldn't be like, no, I agree. We should void that Super Bowl. We won it unfairly. You're going to take it because you're the Browns. I'm a Redskins fan. The last time the Redskins won a Super Bowl, I was 2 years old. I was not a Redskins fan at the time, and B, I wasn't even an American. Not yet. That would come when I was 4. Okay? I was not even a citizen of this country the last time my favorite team won a Super Bowl. I was 2 years old. If somebody said today, the Redskins, okay, they're going to spy on another team's practices, that's going to get them to the Super Bowl, where they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then 3 or 4 years later, people are going to find out that you may or may not have won that in the most fair fashion. Would you or would you not take the Super Bowl? I would take the Super Bowl. I would take it. And I would be glad to have it too. You like the Titans, you like the Falcons. You can't sit here and tell me if you were in the Patriots' shoes, you wouldn't take the Super Bowl. So the issue isn't that the Patriots keep cheating. I don't think that that's where we have the problem. I think we have the problem where the Patriots keep getting caught, where you guys can't even pretend that this is serious enough to not get caught. You guys are reckless and you almost don't care that the rest of us see you cheating. Everybody's trying to get an edge in the NFL. Everybody. This is Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. We're talking football. We're going to be talking a little bit about tennis later. It's, for all tennis fans, raise your hands. It's Venus and Serena Day. The 2 sisters square off once again. We'll talk about that next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
This is America Now with Meghan McCain.
Al Gore running is crazy. You're flying around in your private jet all over the world, and you want average Americans to care about the environment. Don't you think you should be doing your part as well?
Meghan McCain, weekdays at 7 p.m.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection, loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now, 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
Social media, we're on that. Hot News Talk Radio on Facebook, at Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Download the TuneIn app and follow us anywhere at any time. AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall next Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
On AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
The New England Patriots, cheaters or champions, and does it even matter? It matters on some level, but does it matter if everyone else is cheating? That's the argument you hear in baseball a lot of times about the steroid era of baseball when guys were taking steroids like crazy, like it was candy. That, you know, guys were just hitting home runs out of the park. And you're saying, well, this is unfair. Look how huge these guys are. Like, this is unfair. This is clearly against the rules. The issue is, while it's easy to see a guy's production go up hitting the ball, to say, okay, this guy's probably on steroids. You know, if he was hitting 12 home runs a season before, and then suddenly he's in the 30s, you could be suspicious and go that, and also he looks like a linebacker now, like he's just huge. You could say, yeah, that guy's probably on steroids. It's harder to tell with pitchers. Is it how bad is the cheating if everybody's cheating? So I don't know how much the Patriots are cheating here with regards to how much is everyone else doing it. Is it just the Patriots getting caught? But not unlike the hitter who's suddenly hitting home runs like it's going out of style, not unlike him, the Patriots have had a run of success. It's not like they've been cheating and just also bad, because that would be hilarious. That wouldn't be concerning. That would just be funny. The Patriots are getting caught with this stuff, and it looks bad because they're winning. So it's like, you guys are winning. You're getting caught. You're spying on people, recording people, 40 different games the Patriots taped from games from 2000 to the year 2007. And apparently there's a report. It is a report. It's alleged that the Patriots had a more effective cheating method. Notably, quote unquote, low-level Patriots employees would steal opponent play sheets. Many former New England coaches and employees insist that the taping of signals wasn't even the most effective cheating method in the Patriots deployed in that era. Several of them acknowledge that during pregame warmups, a low-level Patriots employee would sneak into the visiting locker room and just steal the play sheet, listing the first 20 or so scripted calls from the opposing team's offense. That's crazy. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio before we jump too far into this and I can't back out. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter if you search Hot News Talk Radio, or Twitter handle being at Hot News Radio. My Twitter handle is at SportsCloud if you want to get at me, tell me how ridiculous I'm being, tell me that I'm wrong, tell me that I'm right. I'll appreciate that, always. You can also listen to us in a couple of different ways on your radio, AM 1240, just tune your dial in. You can also find us at hotnewstalkradio.com. And if you search the TuneIn Radio app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store, download it. It's free. Search Hot News Talk Radio and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio wherever you go. The Patriots continue to get caught. Like, these things happened years ago, but now you're like, they've had multiple Super Bowls. They're considered a dynasty. They're considered a dynasty. Went to 4 Super Bowls with Brady. Won 6. This is all in the Brady era. Went to 6, won 4. Said that backwards. This is all in the Brady era. This is all happening in that time period, and so it affects multiple different conversations, right? Because we talk about Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady the greatest football quarterback of all time? Is he the greatest quarterback of all time? You would have to say so based purely on the numbers and based purely on the championships, right? 4 championships. Only other person to do that is Montana. But Montana is perfect. He went to 4. He won 4. But Brady went to 6. And going to a Super Bowl is hard. Winning them is even harder. It would have been nice if he could have gotten all 6. That he would be the greatest hands down. There would be no discussion. There would be no conversation. But he isn't in the eyes of many, and this isn't going to help. The team being caught cheating, that's not helping anything. It flat out isn't. So that affects that conversation. It also affects the conversation of Bill Belichick, the head coach, who's seen as one of the greatest head coaches of all time, one of the greatest football minds even. Well, if you're cheating, how much do we credit to you being a genius? And how much do we credit to you simply knowing the opponent's plays because you had the first 20 or so scripted plays on a sheet of paper? That's a huge advantage. You throw the other team all out of whack. Like, if you knew the first 20 plays the other team was going to run, you shouldn't be losing football games. Quite frankly, that should just not happen to you. And it wasn't. The Patriots dominated, still dominate. So I don't know where you draw the line on that, but it affects all of those conversations. These 2 guys especially, Belichick and Brady, are Hall of Famers. They retire today and walk away from the game, never win another title, never win another game. They go to the Hall of Fame as soon as their names are available on the ballot. Immediately. So all of those conversations get affected by this. And it's hard. It's just hard to see it. And you want to look, if you're an anti-Patriots fan, you're the person that roots against them. You're probably that same person that roots against LeBron too, just because he's LeBron. You probably rooted against Michael Jordan, rooted against Kobe. You you're a killjoy for one. You just root against things being fun. Winning is fun. I like to see people win. I don't have a problem with LeBron being insanely good. I just don't have a problem with it. It's kind of annoying because I'd like my team to win, but if my team can't win, it really doesn't make a difference to me whether it's LeBron or somebody else. So I think LeBron being the best player in the league might as well be LeBron. Like, at that point, why not? Let me just root to see the best basketball player all the time. I'm okay with that. A lot of people aren't. You root against the Patriots. You probably rooted against the Bulls in the 90s too. Rooted against the Lakers and Celtics in the 80s. You're just not into fun. And I get it. That's fine. I won't judge you hard. I won't judge you too hard. But I have no problem with it, but it does affect those things. If you're a person who's against the Patriots, if you're that guy, then yeah, I guess today you're having a good day. But to me, I like to have in the history of the game those stretches where a team was just great. I see myself as somewhat of a historian of the game, and I like to go back and read about the dynasties and what made them winners and what made them champions and what made them so selfless and playing for one another. All of those things matter in building a dynasty team, a team that wins multiple titles in a small amount of time or consecutively. Those are fun to learn about and fun to have. And I'm glad that I got to live through the era. But I don't want the era to be tainted because the team cheated. That doesn't do me any good. Have rumors about Serena Williams and steroids. That's been around for a while. I don't see it personally. She's been tested a lot. You think she'd be caught by now. Maybe she's just better at it than the Patriots are. But Serena Williams plays Venus Williams today. The Williams sisters. And I root for American tennis. So this is just a great day today. The women's side of the game has, in my opinion, more interesting tennis to watch than the men's side of the game. Roger Federer getting a little older, up there in age. Same thing with Nadal, Rafael Nadal. Nadal's playing style lends itself to him aging faster. He's so reckless and so fast. And when he plays on the clay courts of the French Open, all of the sliding around that he does, it's taken its toll on his knees. He has aged a lot faster as a player than I think many do because of his playing style. It's like Dwayne Wade in the NBA. Dwayne Wade is old, but old in basketball years. He's not actually old. Dwayne Wade could probably still be on the downside of his prime. Dwayne Wade's not in his prime at all. He can't stay healthy. He shows flashes. He's not as great consistently as he once was. And that's his health. And that was his playing style. Dwayne Wade was always sacrificing his body for the big play. That's going to wear you down. It's going to have an effect on your mileage. You just can't take that pounding for as long as it takes to do that. You just don't have it in you. Nobody does. So it's harder to watch men's tennis because Nadal's taken that pounding. Federer has had a longer career at the top. He's taken that pounding. Djokovic is insanely fun to watch, but he tends to power through people fairly easily. He doesn't have a whole lot of challenges playing. I still enjoy watching him because, again, I'm not that guy. I'm not rooting against LeBron, and Djokovic is the #1 player in the world right now. I'm not rooting against him. It's fun. I'd like to see an American. That helps. If we had a good American, that would be a nice person to root for. Andy Murray is a British guy, and he's solid. Like, he's fun to watch because he's crafty and cool. But the thing about Murray is he's got mental issues. You can get to him if he starts losing and you really break him. You break him for good. Like for the rest of that game, he is completely useless, and people take advantage of that for sure. Not so much on the women's side of the game. With that said, there is an obvious dominance there. Serena Williams is the undisputed best player in the world, and the last few times she and her sister Venus have come together, it hasn't gone well for Venus. But it's still very fun to watch the two of them. It's still incredibly interesting to watch them, especially considering how they changed the landscape of not just women's tennis, but American tennis. Serena Williams, if she wins this U.S. Open, will be the first person, man or woman, to win 7 U.S. Opens. The first. That's incredible. That is so hard to do. And she's got quite a bit left in the tank. Like, she can still play for a few more years and play at a very high level and continue to win. That's the part that gets me. That Serena Williams is, look, she's good. With that said, okay, I'm rooting for the upset today. Possibly because I am an older brother. I'd like to say, let's see older sister win here. for once in a while. It's been a long time. Venus had the issues with her health, with the autoimmune disease that she had. She's recovered from, but she's not 100%. She hasn't been since then, and I think that's affected the rivalry. That is probably one of the most fun rivalries in tennis, because Serena versus like Maria Sharapova, that's not a rivalry. That's a bloodbath waiting to happen every time the two of them meet up. Serena is not ever losing to Maria Sharapova ever again. The day that happens is probably the day that Serena should walk away. I think because of how completely and totally she has dominated Maria Sharapova. It has not even been close. It hasn't been close. And so I'm excited. And again, it's a great day for American tennis. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. I'm Keon Rose. Make sure to listen out for me tomorrow on the Mr. Judge Show from 11 to noon, after the David Tulis Show from 9 to 11. I'm glad you could join me today here on the show. There's some rain coming up from the south, coming up from Atlanta. Be careful driving out on those streets today if it does rain. Be careful in general.
12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News. I'm Harley Carnes. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis is being accused or released from jail where she's been held in contempt of court. CBS's Paula Reed with that.
Today, the judge received a status report from the couples who sued.